Oh, we gotta have him in here. There you go. Okay. Okay, we're here this week on Amp Up the 88 for this week's chat with Chris Doherty, team engineer for the 88. Welcome.
Awesome.
Good to see you.
Yeah, appreciate you having me here.
Yeah, a couple things real quick and we'll get started. I'm Steve Crisp from the Hendrick Performance, and I was asked to host for a couple weeks, so I've got to give you some fair warning though. They've assigned us 2 PR girls. One of them's like the evil genius in a James Bond movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dangerous.
The other one's smart, but she played field hockey and lacrosse, so she could hit people with sticks.
Wow. So that's what we're doing with one, and then the enforcer.
Yeah, I'm like the Bigfoot on the beef jerky commercials. They're trying to always trip me up and play tricks on me. So just a heads up, if something's out of whack, you know what's going on.
I'll keep that. I know who to blame.
Yeah. Before we get going here too, I want to remind everybody about the great stuff at Amp Up the 88. We have the Dale Jr. autographed items daily, and behind-the-scene video blogs, and the Twitter feeds from the 88 spotter, TJ Majors. How about that for a name, huh? It's like a 70s action
TJ Majors. Oh, yeah.
TJ Majors.
I room with a guy. That's what he wakes up in the morning. He goes, TJ Majors.
Yeah.
Waking up.
Yeah, it's like an action guy, like a Schwarzenegger character.
Oh,
or
yeah.
something.
Oh, yeah.
He's back. Well, we got a question here from Jennifer Allred Manchale, and it is, what is your favorite track?
My favorite track is actually a tie between 2. The first is Bristol, just because when you walk into the Dome and you just see the bank angles and the huge stadium and all the seats around, you're just kind of impressed and awed by that. My second one is actually Watkins Glen, just because I grew up doing a lot of sports car racing. I really like road courses, and that racing just is interesting. It's a little different. So,
what was your racing background? What got you into it?
Well, actually, I used to race touring cars like Hondas and Integras and stuff like that. Yeah. And in school, I raced little tiny Formula cars, little motorcycle-engined, open-wheel guys that were pretty much a blast to drive. And so that's how I kind of got into the racing deal and decided that's something I want to do later in life. So. Oh
wow! Well, that's cool. Yeah. And then that just kind of evolved to your career here, running the 7.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then I was looking for jobs right out of school in racing, and I was pretty much set. It's got to be motorsports. And after a long enough wait, I finally got the right call from Hendrick and shipped on down. And,
well, yeah. Cool. We've got another question here from Flat 23. What is your favorite Dale Jr. story? Anything funny you can share?
I have a lot of stories I cannot share, but probably my favorite one is we have digital radios that we use during practice and during the races, just because we don't want all our communication to be available to all the other teams and such. And so that's how we, the engineers and Lance and the mechanics, are all communicating with each other. Well, Dale doesn't have a digital radio. He just has the regular one. So he always gets he likes to know what's going on, so he gets a little miffed when we're talking about things, and he calls it the secret society. And so he always wonders, what's the secret society talking about now when we make a change? And oh, secret society messed that one up. It's like, oh great. So that's kind of good, just to rail him a little bit with those, but that's fun.
That is pretty good. Another one is from T Burglar. I wonder if this is any relation to TJ Majors.
I'm sure.
T Burglar.
Some sort, yeah.
Where did your nicknames Dirty, Dirts, Dortbox originate from?
Oh wow. I think most of those came from college. Just Doherty, Dirty. It's not really a pleasing one, but you know it stuck. So, and the rest of them, Dortbox. Good God, I don't even know. I think that's like my little brother way back when, something like that. I don't know how people found those, but. What was the other one? We had Dirty, Dortbox, and
Dirts.
Dirts. They're all just my last name shortened and with a Z on the end of it or something clever like that. I don't have very creative friends, so.
Well, those are pretty cool. Yeah. Been called a lot worse than that.
Yeah, me too.
Our next question is from Kay Dixon. Steve is a big dummy. What?
Oh, is that genius?
It's a Bigfoot thing.
Yeah.
What is your favorite part of your job? Is a question from Dakota Hughes.
Well, my favorite part of the job is being able to when Chris Heroy, the other race engineer, and I are able to put together a setup, and right off the bat, right off the truck, it works well. that's my favorite part of the job, is when we actually come up with something from the shop, and we don't have to tweak it that much, and it's just faster out of the box. Then you get that satisfaction, that knowledge that, you know, the hard work paid off in this instance. And it doesn't always, so when it happens, it's a real nice feeling.
Cool. Amp Chick 88 wants to know, if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
Wow, I don't really know, actually. Probably something with engineering, something maybe with things going fast. I like race cars, jets, motorcycles, all that kind of thing. I think it'd probably be something along these same lines, what I do now, but just working with machines that go fast and do cool things. So
cool. 88 guy has a question. What is your favorite Dale Jr. /88 moment?
I have to say probably finishing second at the Daytona 500. That was my first race with the team right off the bat, and Dale passed like 6 cars in like 2 laps right at the end there, and just that energy and feeling of, oh my God, we have a chance to win this thing, and coming out of nowhere to be in finishing second was a pretty awesome feeling. And just starting things off right like that was pretty special.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, huh? And it gives you a good momentum going into the moving ahead for the rest of the season.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What's been your greatest racing moment, period? Not just with Junior or the 88, but
well, in 2009, I was a race engineer with Brad Keselowski on a 25 deal for that part-time thing with Hendrick, and really, we weren't even guaranteed to make the show because we weren't in on points, and so qualifying for all those races was pretty special at times when, you know, it's came down to the wire on some of them. But making the show and having good finishes, finished in the top 10 twice last year with you know, an R&D team kind of shackled together. So that was pretty special. But I would say that the moments with the 88 have been pretty cool, like the Daytona, the top 5s we've had, and the strong runs, you know, just make you feel pretty good.
Alrighty. Dances with Cat has a question. If you could have any job at Hendrick Motorsports, what would that be?
Obviously, besides the owner, I assume, it's going to be Doherty Motorsports, and that'd be something different. But I would like to.
Big sign out.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't work there if I were you. It sounds like a good career move. In any case, I think that if I could do anything, I mean, I really like what I'm doing now, to be honest. I don't know that I see myself being a crew chief in the next 10 years. You know, it takes a certain personality and certain qualities that, you know, not everybody has. So I honestly like what I'm doing now, but you know, if later down the road I, you know, am offered something different at Hendrick, you know, I would definitely consider that. But I definitely like this company, and, you know, but I could see myself, you know, moving around if that's what they asked me to do.
Just the challenge of doing something different.
Exactly. It's not that you get bored, but sometimes you're just like, I've done this for a bit, and I want a new challenge and try something new. So
cool. Double D has a question. What is the hardest task you've ever faced during a race?
Well, when things are really not going well, and we have a race car that's not fast, and our driver is not happy, just that scramble to try to find something. The next time he comes in for a pit stop, you know, hopefully we've got something in our bag of tricks to help make it better. And a lot of times it's not obvious, and so it's just that panic of trying to find, you know, this worked before, will this work again, or nothing's worked so far, what do we do? And, you know, you run into those situations every now and then.
Makes good sense.
Yeah.
NC Basketball writes in, wants to know, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I don't know. I mean, that's a tough one, actually. Hopefully employed. Hopefully doing something within the motorsports community. So, you know, I see a lot of people who do their road stint, kind of their tour of duty, and then come off the road and have more head of R&D deals and kind of oversee and manage R&D departments and stuff like that. I could see myself doing that.
Cool. You guys just had an off weekend. Did you do anything exciting?
I was actually up in Wilmington, right on the East Coast, right by Surf City and Topsail Island. So, and had a nice weekend, a little sunburned, put on a nice base coat.
Yep.
And I guess I just missed, or I'm about to miss, Hurricane Earl rolling through there right now. So.
Yeah, might have picked a good time to go, huh?
Exactly.
All you folks batten up the hatches down there. It's going to be bad. Yeah, those aren't any fun at all.
No, I bet.
Grossy25 asks, what do you do on your free time?
Well, when I have free time, I like to work out, run, play soccer when possible. I have a couple of motorcycles I like to ride around, just around town, and just, you know, that's pretty much it. So free time is tough to come by these times.
Pretty rare, isn't it?
It's pretty rare, but when I do, those are things I like to do.
And you guys have got the schedule now. You're wide open until Thanksgiving, right?
Exactly.
No more off
Yep.
weekends?
We're locked down with races. Atlanta, Richmond, and the chase starts, and we're in it until Thanksgiving. Yeah.
How you feel about Atlanta?
Looking forward to Atlanta. That's a track where Dale's pretty strong at. We qualified on the pole last time there. It's our pole for 2010, our only one. So we got a setup that we know is pretty reliable, and we have some options to tweak that we think are better. But we know that our baseline is going to be pretty consistent. So that gives you at least a little bit. It gives you a lot of confidence actually going into the weekend, knowing that we got something that we can pretty much rely on to be good and consistent.
This is a good one from HMS Insider. What's the most influential thing Sean Connery has ever said?
Sean Connery?
Sean Connery, yeah. Bond.
Well, he's probably have to go with something along the lines of what he said in the Saturday Night Live Jeopardy shows or something like that. Something. I don't know. None of those are appropriate for an AM chat. So
this is a PG show,
right? Is
right?
this PG? Do I have to turn it down a bit? Okay. We'll say no comment. Sorry, Sean.
Probably some old Saturday Night Live reruns would be the thing to do.
Exactly.
You guys got and watch those.
Yeah,
it'll work out.
You can find some of those.
Yeah. Here's one from Beckbeat555. Out of the paint schemes the 88 has run, what are your favorites?
To be honest, I like our normal Amp Energy and our National Guard paint schemes. Some of the interesting ones, like the one we ran at Michigan, was pretty neat, the white background. But really, just the normal green ones are my favorite. Green's one of my favorite colors, so it just works out that way.
Perfect.
That's nice. We'll go with Amp.
Grassy25 has a question. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go and why?
I've been to some pretty cool places, but I've never been to Africa. I've never been to Russia or anything like that. I mean, who knows? We'll say Russia. Why not? That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Here's one from WCG88. Any chance of bringing back Unrestricted? That was a radio show we did with Dale Jr.
Unrestricted?
Yeah. Tell you what, if we could get Chris here to come on there with us and we get an amp to sponsor it, we'd do that. Yeah. Maybe the Amp Juice could sponsor it. Here's your wake-up call. That'd be a good sponsor too, wouldn't it?
I'm game, yeah. Let's do it.
If you could have a dream team, what past drivers would be on that dream team?
Past drivers? So no active drivers at the moment?
No, just anybody you wanted on your dream team.
All right. Well, we'd probably have, the usual, like Dale Sr., we'd probably have Richard Petty, and David Pearson, You can pretty much just look at the NASCAR Hall of Fame and be like, top 5, we'll just take those guys. That's a pretty good dream team to me, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to...
Be pretty good, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we'll go with
that. Here's another one. What is your favorite amp flavor?
To be honest, I was just sipping on this... was this mixed berry amp juice?
Yeah,
and it's actually pretty good.
The amp juice is great.
Yeah, it's the first time I've tried it, and it's pretty good. So
you could use this one. It's the orange flavored, like orange juice. You could it actually is orange juice. You could wash down some bacon and eggs. Good with that.
Oh yeah. Perfect race day breakfast.
See, I'm one of these Cro-Magnons that thinks orange juice is just for breakfast. So
not me. I drink it 24/7 if possible.
It's good for you.
Yeah, it is. Get that vitamin C.
How do you guys decide when Dale Jr. needs to come in for a tire change during a race? That's from Sam G.
Well, a lot of those decisions are dictated by fuel. So usually in most races we'll run out of fuel before our tires are worn to the point where it's dangerous. So a lot of times we don't have to worry about it. Now in some cases where the tires are wearing prematurely, or we have some sort of a camber issue or something like that, then we may need to pit a little earlier than we'd like to for fuel mileage purposes, just to make sure that we have a competitive race car out there at all times. So usually it's the fuel mileage that dictates when we're coming in and such, and we want to stay on that fuel mileage schedule.
Hit that window.
Exactly.
What is your biggest concern going into a race?
Well, it's really you can sit there and worry about all the multitude of many things that could go wrong during a race, and a large number of those are out of your control. So you try not to worry about those, but the things that you just worry about the things you can control. So keep sticking to a good strategy, making smart adjustments, and just trying to stay on top of the race car and the racetrack as it's changing, throughout the day, throughout the night. So just staying on top of the things that you can control and make sure that you're making smart decisions.
Okay. That's a good one. Irv Mary has a good question here. Lance worked in R&D, you worked in R&D. Who runs that now that Tony Uri Jr. is gone?
Well, now that when Tony left, we have Doug Ducard is still the vice president manager of all engineering, and we have Rex Stump, who's been there. He's the engineering manager, and Jim Long has also been over there for a while. And those guys together kind of have run the ship, and they've all been there for a while, and they all pretty much have their own set of people that are under them, and they kind of been doing their thing for a while. So it's still been the same guys for the most part, and they had Lance to come in, and he had kind of taken a crew chief role for the R&D team, especially when we were doing a lot of testing. That was pretty big. Now that the testing has gone away, that position wasn't really necessary anymore. So we've kind of shuffled some people around again, and if testing was opened up, then a position like that might be necessary again. But.
Okay, the car you're taking to Atlanta, a new car?
Yes.
Brand new car. There's a question here, how much testing has been done with the new car, the new chassis?
Well, we've been going through a couple new front structure, front clips, and we've been doing actually a lot of testing at short tracks around there actually in the last couple weeks, and we think we've made some pretty decent improvements with that, just from a structural standpoint and also from a setup standpoint. So this new car will hopefully benefit from a lot of that and be even stronger than it was in the last Atlanta race. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are some of your responsibilities as an engineer on the team? That's from Bully 64.
Well, since there's two engineers, Chris Hero and myself, we both were running the Hendrick simulation. So we're both running sims, basically going through various setup configurations, trying to see trends and find some optimums in there. And I also run different sims, some that I've created myself kind of in the background, just to kind of complement that. A simulation can't answer all your questions, but it's one of the tools you have in your toolbox. So we try to have as many tools as we can, and hopefully the answers kind of converge on a single spot. You don't want one tool telling you this and the other tool telling you the opposite direction. So I'll run those in the background to kind of fill in the gaps, as we like to say, to try to give us a better overall picture of what to expect during practice or during the race, whatnot.
Okay. Out of all the tracks for the rest of the season, which one is the most difficult to set up for? That's from Beck Beat.
To set up
the rest of the remaining tracks, I should say.
The rest of the remaining tracks? There are a couple different ones in there. Talladega is always, going to have will be underlined when you look at that, just because it's the super speedway. It's completely different, and the way we set it up is completely different with the restricted engines and drafting and whatnot. Let's see here. Martinsville is also kind of like on the other side. That's out in left field over here. Just the setups that work, and we've had a lot of success there, but the setups that work there are just pretty different from what works everywhere else. So those two are kind of like two polar extremes that we're going to be coming up to soon. So Martinsville, Talladega, I'd say.
Yeah, I got a question. Knowing the Junior Nation and knowing the legions of fans and the diversity of the fans and all the different backgrounds and things that they come from, does that add any extra pressure on you, or are you able to do your thing without knowing all these people are looking at you and counting on you, and they want to interact with you at the track?
Yeah. I mean, it does add that pressure. I mean, you see the huge amount of fans, wearing 88 colors and stuff like that, and a lot of those guys, really want you to do well, and that does add a little bit of pressure. But at the same time, regardless of whether you have a legion of fans or no fans at all, you still personally, I want to do the best job I possibly can and be competitive and win races, and just for myself. And then I know that the rest of the guys in the team feel the same way about it. So while there may be that extra bit of weight on your shoulders, and it's on Dale's shoulders too, you still gotta do what you have to do. You still have to do your job. So it is, and it would be cool to interact with fans more, but it's just the way it is.
Schedule's tough.
The schedule's really tough.
We're with Chris Doherty, engineer on the 88 Amp Chevy, and we're about halfway through here. Got a lot of questions here, and still keep them coming. We'll keep this moving right along here. Are there any exercises you do to prepare yourself for a race? That's a question from Grossy25.
Exercises like physical exercises, I assume?
I guess,
Let's go with that. Stretching the fingers, cracking your knuckles, making sure that I'm ready to type.
I always tried yoga. That was good.
Yoga's actually pretty good. Yeah, yoga's a really good exercise.
Yep.
Stay limber and stay flexible. You don't want to pull a hammy out, that is.
That's right. What was your first ever job?
My first ever job is, I believe, a grocery bagger at a Kroger's, which is a grocery store in the Midwest. I don't know if they have them. Do they have Kroger's?
They did, yeah. There used to be Kroger's here everywhere.
For a bit. They were big in the Midwest, and I would think I was 12 or 13 when I first doing
that. That's what I did. Started bagging groceries at 12 years old.
Yeah, making like $3. They don't even have to give you a minimum wage at that age, I don't think so.
No, we were breaking so many labor laws at the time. Didn't matter what they paid you.
Yeah.
It was a good learning experience.
It was, yeah. Make a couple bucks and,
Yep. Got a good question here. Are you married?
I'm not married, and I do have a girlfriend I live with, so.
Alrighty. Who oversees the simulation testing?
The simulation testing. Well, we have within R&D we have an engineer by the name of Dave McLean. He's responsible for the HMS simulation programs, and honestly a lot of other programs within R&D. And he's the one who writes the code, fixes the code. He keeps up with it, debugs it, and he does a pretty phenomenal job with that. I mean, he's overworked but definitely appreciated. So Dave does a great job.
Here's another good question. How much time do you spend interfacing with the other team engineers at Hendrick Motorsports?
Quite a bit of time, especially the five engineers, Tom and Lee. I mean, those guys' offices are literally right next to ours. So I mean, we go in there, we hang out, we're always bouncing ideas off each other. And the engineers in the 248 shop, we always have weekly meetings, and we're communicating on instant messenger, going over there and talking with those guys. And it just helps to have everyone close by that you can talk about your problems and things you're struggling with. Maybe someone has found a good solution to something, and you can try to implement that. But having those guys around and close by, and just having those communication doors open is very helpful. So.
And the 4 drivers we have here at Hendrick Motorsports, they're all pretty different in how they like a car to feel.
They are, exactly. So we're always battling with similar things, but still different things. So we can't just throw the same setup in every car and run with it just because 3 out of 4 drivers won't like it. But we can still make decisions and say this helped this driver, maybe this will help my driver, and see trends and things that benefited one team and try to apply those to the other 3. So.
Okay, a lot of shared information.
Exactly, a lot of shared information.
Yep. There's another one in here. It's pretty good. What is your favorite type of car?
My favorite type of car, personally, I wouldn't feel too bad about driving a Ferrari 599 or something like that.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, if I had the opportunity, if anyone wants to give me that opportunity, I won't throw that away.
Yeah, and being an engineer too, it's chock full of high-tech goodies.
Exactly. It's got all the. I mean, I'm certainly not a professional driver, but it's got plenty of knobs and dials for me to play with and
paddle shift.
Exactly, paddle shift and hit that, and before I spin out into the dirt. So.
Yep, that's cool. If you could meet anyone in the world, who would it be?
That is a really tough one, so I'm just going to choose someone random. I would really like to meet Drew Brees. Super Bowl winning NFL quarterback.
That's cool.
Yeah. I like Drew Brees, and I like the Saints a lot, so, you know, why not?
Perfect. Let's see here. How do you rebound from a bad week?
Well, hopefully after a bad week, we might have some time off just to clear your mind of negative thoughts and whatnot. But you know, it's all about getting right back to it and just not letting it affect you. So don't carry any of that over into the next week. Get started new, get started fresh, and do better next week. Mm-hmm. You know, you can erase that by having a good performance the next week, and then, you know, it's in the past and out of your mind. So. And
one of the things that I've always found interesting here at Hendrick is the post-race analysis and everything you guys go through. That happens on Monday morning, Tuesday. Yeah. You sit down and go through everything from the previous week. What do you learn out of that?
Well, we learned, you know, what we struggled with and what other teams struggled with, and we also talk about what worked and what we would have liked to have done but didn't for whatever reason, or what we didn't do but, you know, in hindsight might have been a good idea. And, you know, it's just sharing those notes and sharing those experiences and putting together sort of like a database so that you know that next time when we go back, whether it's the next race or, you know, a couple races later, you know, hopefully we'll remember some of the things that we struggle with, or we can work on the tools and make that better next time. So it's having those meetings and getting everyone together in the same room, and just even if all four teams had a bad week, then at least it gets it out there, you know.
Mm-hmm. Flake 23 wants to know, what is the most positive feedback you can give us on the 88 right now?
The most positive feedback, well, we have a lot of racetracks coming up that Dale is pretty strong at, and that we've had success at in the past, and so I think that Amp Energy fans will be excited to see us performing well, and I think they will. I think we have some pretty solid setups coming up, and I think Dale is once he gets to the tracks where he's good at, is gonna make it happen. So so we're going for wins, and Dale is too. So
good. Well, he you know, gets to Richmond, or he's always done really well there. Won a bunch of times at Richmond, and like I said, you did really well at Atlanta last time. So
and we got Talladega, which somehow, I mean, Dale is just good there no matter what. So
yeah, that's the E gene, isn't it? He's awesome on those plate tracks.
It's the E gene. It's just like when he says he needs something, you know, you don't worry about what the computer says. He knows better. So it's just like we always rely on him no matter what in those cases. So he does this thing at the plate tracks for sure. And there's none better than him at that. So
did you guys kind of have to go back to the ground zero when you went from the COT with the wing on it now to the regular blade? Was that a big change for everybody?
At first, we didn't think it was that big of a change, and in hindsight, it may have been a little bit larger than what we first anticipated. So, you don't want to overcompensate for something like that. I mean, a lot of times, especially if you're just looking at like your sim, for example, and your sim says, you know, you have to just swing, you have to really swing this setup to get us back to an appropriate balance. You got to be really careful doing things like that, just because sometimes, you know, that's not 100% accurate, or even 50% accurate in some cases. So you need to be conservative with big changes like that, and make sure that you don't get yourself out in the left field and then spend all practice or all week getting yourself back. So that's one thing you got to be careful of.
But we got a question here from Sunshine. Explain the Ohio to Michigan Benedict Arnold. What does that mean?
Well, we have an insider with some inside information about me personally, because I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, home of the Ohio State Buckeyes for Midwesterner college football fans, and I went to school at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. So go blue. Sorry, guys at home, but it had to happen. So I am a Benedict Arnold. Columbus, you want to call it. So I'm sure that's lighting up now.
That lit it up right there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So Wolverine at heart, and all my friends went to Ohio State, and they all hate my guts, but sorry.
Well, we got out of time here now. We've got next week we're going to have Aaron Walker on here. He does all the pit support here at Hendrick Motorsports, so that's cool.
Aaron's a cool guy.
And the our evil PR chicks are there trying to knock the rough edges off. I believe I've heard the word hillbilly thrown around randomly regarding me. Yes.
Oh, goodness.
What they're saying here is,
That's just out of line.
your smack is really fresh. Give me a pound, dog.
Boom.
Awesome guest. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely appreciate it.